Hey, shalom, shalom, Israel. Before I get started, as always, I give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Muhammad Kwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, the men who rule well over Israel, and also who taught us this truth. And peace, blessings, and salutations to the occupant that are pushing this word throughout the four corners of the round earth in faith, love, sincerity, and diligence. And to those sisters that are learning, and to those that support the ministry, Shalom. Yes, the brother Yakana from the GMS Houston camp, coming back with another installment of GMS Practicals. And I wanted to go into a brief lesson this evening. Not really sure what the title is going to be. Maybe something along the lines of a prelude of what's to come, man. You know, because when you look around, what's going on in the world today with the war and the pestilence and the rumors of war and those things that are to come, that's going to happen before it's all said and done. It's just a preview of what's coming to America, man, you know. So everything you see that's going on in China, that's coming to America. Things that are going on even in Ukraine, in other countries with the rioting and the people waking up and they seeing that this whole digital reset is a bunch of BS, man. You know, people are acting out, man, but at the end of the day, everything that's prophesied to happen is going to happen, man. You know, I'm going to just jump in, though, and I'm going to go straight to the point on this. I'll start with Matthew chapter 24 and verse 6, and it says, "You shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." So we hearing of wars. There's a war going on. There's rumors of wars. There's talk of nuclear war between Gog and Babylon, and Moab is going to be involved. In other words, Russia, America, China, and all these other nations, man, that are actually pissed off at America. But even with all this talk, it says, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. So this is where it's all beginning. And when you look around, these things are actually happening right now as we speak and live. I mean, this is, but it ain't happening here in Babylon to the extent that it is in the rest of the world. So people in this country are still living comfortable and lavish and greed and just gluttonous, man. Like it ain't no big thing. Yeah, gas prices are high, but we ain't starving. You know, they talking about the diseases and stuff, but these pestilences are not just running rapid yet. And there's some earthquakes going on, but we good. That's the way they seeing it. But what they don't understand is that these things happening are just the beginning of sorrows. It didn't say it was the beginning of America bouncing back with all that mega and all that. It's the beginning of sorrows, man. Because those things that are to come are going to happen, man. And you wouldn't believe it unless you're a believer, man. I'm going to jump over here to 2nd Ezra chapter 15. And I'm going to start at verse, start at 17. Well, I'm going to start at 16. It says, "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. In other words, all hell is going to break loose. There's going to be lawlessness, man. There's going to be dissension in the ranks, as they like to say. Nobody's going to be all that law abiding citizen, all that shit is going out the window, man. All that's going, it's going to be like a purge, man, because it's going to be every man for himself at that point. And that's coming. See, you may not believe that. It's like, man, in our neighborhood, everybody know everybody. We all get along. It's all good. Like old Bob down the street, he's the soccer coach for all our kids. Load the kids up in the van, and then you got Bill across the street. Bill will give you the shirt off his back, man. But in that day, man, Bob and Bill and them, they ain't trying to hear none of that shit, man. It's gonna be every person for themselves, man. Every family for themselves, you know. And that's how it's going down. Um, Verse 17, it says, "A man shall desire to go into a city, and shall not be able." Like if you go to the Ukraine, the apostles had touched on that, man. The men can't leave the country. They got to stay and fight. The women in other countries, they can leave. They out partying, having a good time, you know. And the men are dying, like they said. Though, where's all that feminist movement at, man? Where's all that we equal? Well, if women are equal, why the hell are y'all allowed to leave? Stay your ass and fight too. You know, don't just leave and go have a good time while we lay here dying. That's a bunch of bull, man. So see, when all hell breaks loose, everybody's gonna revert back to the proper gender, man, so to speak. Well, not so to speak, but that, cause you ain't gonna want to be a man in that day. You gonna want some protection in that day. You gonna scream, you a woman, and you need some protection. You need some help, you know. But as this says, and this is going on in other countries now. But again, this is just a preview of what's coming to America, man. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. For because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Yeah, all that bad Billy badass and all that, man. I can whoop the world, and I'm Jake. I'm the hardest nigga in the hood, and all that. All that's going out the window, man. All that, all that tough guy shit, man. That ain't gonna fly in that day, cause then people are gonna realize this got real. This is real, you know. It's like, you can talk shit with somebody back and forth, all that damn who banging and shit, all that lip wrestling. But then when they finally say, come on with it, and you have to step to the square and you look around and everybody's hollering, it's one on one. Don't nobody jump in. It's one on one. Now it's just you. Now you got to put up a shut up. All that who banging ain't gonna save your ass, Or as they say, bumping your gums and lip wrestling. It's real now, you know. So this is the same thing, man, that it says, and men shall be afraid. You damn right. Because the cowards going to come out in people then. Because they not under that covering of Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, man. You know, they not being led by the Rakakwadash. These people are just out there. So they're not going to have a strong tower to run into. They're not going to be able to call on the name because they don't know it. And Jesus ain't going to show up and help your ass in that day. And that's for you wacky tacky Christians. Verse 19 says, and a man shall have no pity on his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with a sword and spoil their goods because of lack of bread and for great tribulation. So in that day, I remember Bob with the band taking all the kids to soccer practice and coaching them, and Bill across the street's good stand up guy, man. He's a good fella, like they said in Goodfellas. You gonna like him. He's a stand up guy. He's one of us. All that shit's out the window, man. You know, it says a man shall have no pity on his neighbor. Yeah, it ain't about all of it. Yeah, but man, I thought we was friends, man. Get your ass out the way so I can get to your refrigerator. But will shall destroy their houses with the sword, which in this day and age would be a gun. You know, spoil their goods because of lack of bread, because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation. And lack of bread, man. People, starving people do desperate things, man. Desperate times call for desperate measures. And when you're hungry, you'd be surprised what people, well, you may not be surprised what people would do, man. But that day is right around the corner. We're not far from it, man. You know, so just prepare yourselves, man, in the spirit, you know, and get rooted in these scriptures so you ain't left out there naked, hung out to dry, you know. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on that briefly, just to go into that real quick. So I'll go ahead and end it with that. And until next time, Aparatazah. Shalom.